And the universe just gave me another confirmation of what trust looks like. Oh, Monday morning, I thought of what I felt was like such a perfect example of the snake pit. A time in my life where I experienced extreme turmoil, where I felt a million different things and was actually so conflicted between heart, brain, and gut, and all the emotions that I thought and felt, that I actually ended up crying and laughing at the same time. And nothing can describe a snake pit better than that. Crying and laughing at the same time, because I actually was sitting there watching myself like, oh my God, look at everything that's happening. Look at all those snakes writhing. And in that moment, the only thing I knew to do was both laugh and cry at the same time. There was so much in me that energy had to come out. And there was just so much. And it involved me just sitting on a bench saying, there's just so much. There's just so much. And I meant that literally and figuratively. And I thought of this on my way to work because the idea came to me after my morning run, as is my typical modus operandi. And I was so proud of myself for thinking of such this amazing example. And then I got to work, and the way that someone had parked pissed me off. So I talked to this woman about it and how it was unsafe. And then I get to work, and all of a sudden things are full on and everything is happening, and I forget. I didn't write it down. I didn't write down my ideas. I normally do. So I forgot. And when I went to sit down for my meditation that evening, the only thing I remembered was that I had thought of this amazing example. So during my meditation, I felt myself try to force it out. I was going in with both hands, just trying to yank this idea back out of my subconscious, draw it from my memory, and I kept reminding myself, the more I try to access this memory, the further away from me it's gonna get. The only way to remember is if I let it float back up on its own. Do you think I could do that? I spent the entire night extremely frustrated with myself for not being able to find this memory. And I kept observing myself trying to find it, trying to force it back up. And every time I did, I reminded myself, just let it go. Just let it come back. Just let it come back itself. And it actually kept me awake for a while before I went to sleep, because I got so obsessed with re-accessing this memory, this amazing example that I wanted so much. Well, the next day, whilst on the treadmill, again, my modus operandi, I thought of another example. And I recorded it, and I called it Adam Anger, the suppression snake. Another recording that I'm extremely proud of, because it was a great example, and it, like, anger does need to be spoken about. And I got that done, and I felt good about that creation. And now here it is, Wednesday. And I've had today's just been one of those days. So much has happened, and I just wanted to come home and close my eyes and recharge my batteries. And the way I do that is I meditate. And during my meditation, all of a sudden, I heard this small, tiny voice say, "It's just so much." And that memory hit me like a ton of bricks. So not only did I re-access the memory only after I completely let it go and come back on its own accord and stop trying to remember, but I got 2 stories out of it instead of 1, which is like double the fun. And now, ironically, the original story doesn't even mean that much. I didn't tell the story the way that I had intended to tell it, but I got so much more out of it because the experience of losing the memory and what I learned from the process of trying to re-access it and learning that if I just let it all go, even more than I anticipated will come back to me. That just speaks to the I don't even know if I can articulate what it speaks to. I guess it's just a bigger lesson. It wasn't easy for me to let go of the fact that I couldn't remember what I wanted to remember, and I kept trying to control it. You know, I really do struggle with the phrase, and I was talking to a couple of friends about it last night. Just let it go. Nothing pisses me off more than that because it's not easy. It's not easy for anybody. But if we can find a way, or we get to know ourselves well enough to know how we just let it go, then when we do, we really only realize that we let it go when it comes back to us in a healthy way. When that voice said, "It's just so much," and that memory hit me in 1 second like a ton of bricks, I literally started laughing. Because there it was. It had come back to me exactly the way that I knew it would if I could just fucking, even I'm saying it, just let it go. Oh, it's so funny. There's so much to learn from just observing these things in ourselves. And this is why this is what keeps me going. This is what keeps me exploring my awareness. This is what keeps me observing my emotions. I think it's because I just look for reasons to learn and laugh at myself. It's both humbling and amusing. And isn't that just one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves?